Before wealthy children ever understand money, before they ever earn it, before they ever spend it, they learn something far more important: a habit. Not a financial habit, a behavioral habit. And once it is installed, money simply obeys it later. This habit is not taught with lectures. There are no sit-down lessons, no speeches about wealth, no warnings about poverty. It is taught through repetition, tone, and what is not reacted to. A child grows up watching how adults respond to situations, not what they say, but what they do when pressure appears. In many homes, pressure creates motion. Something goes wrong, someone reacts. Something feels uncomfortable, someone fixes it fast. Something is uncertain, someone rushes. Children raised in these environments learn a dangerous pattern early. Discomfort means act now. Wealthy children are trained differently. They are trained to pause, not freeze, not avoid, pause. This is the habit wealthy children learn before they ever touch money. They do not respond immediately to pressure. That single habit changes everything later in life. But it begins long before money enters the picture. A child asks for something. The answer is not emotional, not angry, not indulgent. It's neutral. Not now. We'll think about it. Later. No explanation. No guilt. No drama. This moment looks small. It isn't. The child feels desire, and nothing catastrophic happens when it isn't satisfied immediately. That experience rewires the nervous system. Desire does not equal emergency. Most children are trained the opposite way. They cry, they beg, they insist, and eventually the adult gives in. This teaches a powerful lesson. Persistence creates reward. Emotion creates results. Wealthy families break that loop early, not cruelly, consistently. Over time, the child learns something quietly. Waiting is normal. Silence is normal. Uncertainty is survivable. This is the foundation habit, and it appears everywhere. A problem arises. The adults do not panic. They do not argue loudly. They do not scramble. They pause. They gather information. They speak calmly. They decide later. The child watches this pattern repeat again and again. Pressure, pause, decision. Not pressure, reaction. This habit becomes internal. By the time the child is older, pausing no longer feels like effort. It feels natural. This is why wealthy children often appear calm in situations that overwhelm others. It's not confidence, it's conditioning. In most homes, children are trained to respond quickly, answer fast, decide fast, react fast. Speed is praised, but speed under pressure creates mistakes. Wealthy families understand something most people never articulate. The world punishes people who react emotionally and rewards people who can wait. So the habit of waiting is installed early, not as discipline, as default behavior. Another subtle training appears around attention. In many homes, attention is instant. Child speaks, adult reacts. Child interrupts, adult responds. Child demands, adult engages. This trains children to seek attention urgently. In wealthy homes, attention is controlled. Children are acknowledged, but not indulged immediately. They are heard, but not centered constantly. This teaches something powerful. You don't need immediate validation to exist. Later in life, this becomes emotional independence. The child does not need applause to continue. They do not collapse when ignored. This habit matters deeply once money enters the picture, because money amplifies behavior. Another area where the habit is trained is decision delay. Wealthy parents do not rush decisions in front of children, even small ones. What are we doing this weekend? We'll decide later. Can we buy this? We'll think about it.
The child learns that decisions do not require immediacy. They learn to live comfortably inside uncertainty. Most people hate uncertainty. It makes them anxious, so they decide quickly just to feel relief. Wealthy children are trained to sit inside uncertainty calmly. That skill later becomes financial power. Another quiet training appears in how mistakes are handled. In many homes, mistakes trigger emotion, yelling, blame, urgency to fix. Children learn that mistakes are emergencies. In wealthy homes, mistakes are slowed down. What happened? What changes next time? No collapse, no panic. This teaches children that errors are information, not identity. That lesson matters later, because people who fear mistakes rush decisions. People who don't fear mistakes can wait. The habit of pausing also shows up in conflict. When tension rises, wealthy parents do not escalate quickly. They pause conversations, they change environments, they revisit issues later. Children learn that not everything needs to be resolved immediately, that time improves clarity. Most adults lack this skill. They fight to win arguments quickly. They rush to be right. Wealthy children are trained to be effective, not reactive. Another subtle training appears in how parents say no, not emotionally, not defensively, calmly. No, that's not happening. No explanation. This teaches children boundaries without guilt, and later they learn to say no themselves without anxiety. This habit is dangerous to systems that rely on urgency, advertising, sales, social pressure. People trained to pause are hard to manipulate. Another critical area where the habit is installed is boredom. In many homes, boredom is treated as a problem. Parents rush to entertain children. Screens, activities, distractions. Wealthy families allow boredom, not neglect, space. The child sits, they wait, they learn to regulate themselves. This builds attention span, focus, patience. Later in life, this allows wealthy adults to work on long-term projects without stimulation. While others burn out chasing dopamine, they compound quietly. This habit also shapes identity. Children learn they are not defined by immediate action. They are allowed to exist without doing. Most people grow up equating motion with worth. Wealthy children grow up equating control with worth. This is why wealthy children don't feel rushed by life milestones. They don't panic about age. They don't chase timelines. They move when it makes sense. All of this happens before money ever appears. That's the point. By the time wealthy children touch money for the first time, the habit is already installed. Pause before action, delay before decision, observe before responding. Money simply magnifies this habit, and because of that, wealthy children don't destroy money when they finally control it. Most people try to learn financial habits too late. They try to control money without controlling reaction. It never works. Wealthy families reverse the order. They train reaction first. Money obeys later. This is only the beginning. By the time money finally enters the picture, the habit is already alive. That's the part most people miss. Wealthy children don't learn how to handle money when they get money. They learn how to handle pressure long before money ever shows up. So when money arrives, it doesn't change them. It reveals them. Most people experience money as a trigger. More money equals more spending. Less money equals more panic. Uncertainty equals bad decisions. That reaction pattern was installed early. Wealthy children were trained differently. They were trained to interrupt reaction. When wealthy children first receive money, allowances, gifts, early earnings, nothing dramatic happens. No rush to spend, no emotional surge, no urgency. They pause. This pause is automatic. This is where the separation becomes permanent, because money does not create behavior, it amplifies it. People who react emotionally before money will react emotionally with money. People who were trained to pause before pressure will pause before spending. This is why wealthy children rarely experience the first money collapse that destroys so many people. They don't splurge wildly. They don't chase status. They don't burn through opportunity. Not because they're smarter, because their default response is different. The habit of pausing turns into a series of secondary habits, and those habits are what outsiders mistake for discipline. The first secondary habit is delayed spending, not budgeting, not restriction, delay. Wealthy adults don't buy immediately, even when they want something, even when they can afford it. They let time pass. Emotion fades, desire cools, clarity rises. Most purchases die in the delay. That alone preserves enormous wealth. This is why wealthy people often appear hard to sell to.